Did I have any idea what I was doing throughout this entire process? Realistically, probably about 20% of the time. Was I scared that it wasn't going to turn out the way that I wanted? Oh, I was shitting my pants for 2 weeks straight. But did I get it done? You bet your fucking ass I did. What is going on, guys? If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Irvin and this is my 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse. So in the last episode, you guys probably saw me cutting off the rear end. That's because back in high school I got rear-ended and none of this stuff lined up anymore, so I had to figure out a way to fix that. So I decided I was just gonna get the part that I needed from another car and cut the rear end off and weld the new one on, and hopefully that would fix it. So I'll take you guys back to about 2 weeks in the past where I actually started work on this car and take you through the process of what it took to actually get it to this point. Alright, so I'm at a point where my panels are pretty much most of the way straight. I'm going to go ahead and test fit the replacement back panel that I have for this thing. I'm going to see how the taillights fit, see how the bumper fits, try to make sure that all the mounting points for everything are in the correct locations. Then I'll go ahead and start getting it ready to weld in, making sure that all of the places that I'm going to be welding have no paint on them, and I'll probably apply some welded primer onto them. Then we should be able to get the new piece welded in. That's not looking too bad. Everything seems to fit pretty normally. There are a few spots that I think I could move around and get it fitting a little bit better, but for now, this is not the worst fit up I've ever seen. So before we can actually get to replacing this panel and putting that where our old panel was, got a lot of work that needs to be done to both panels. At this point, we've got a bunch of seam sealer going around the edge, a little bit of corrosion on some of the spots, and a bunch of paint. I'm going to prep all the metal around where the spot welds are going to go to make sure that there's no corrosion, make sure there's no paint or anything on there that's going to interfere with the weld. I'm going to do the same thing on the body of the car and then make sure that all of those panels are straight. I'm going to do a little bit of test fitting and then we should be good to weld the thing in. So I'm going to go ahead and start by trying to strip all of the gross stuff that we don't need off of that thing so we can get it welded in. So I've reached a point where pretty much most of the stuff is clean. Most of the seam sealer is off of both sides. I've got pretty much every place that I need to weld completely cleaned of paint and all that kind of stuff. And I've got it measured up, and honestly, it's not looking too bad. You can see I've got these things clamped in, and with all of this, the taillights line up perfectly. So I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the entire panel off and spray all of the bare metal surfaces with some weld-through primer so that once it's all welded, all those spots that are still bare metal will be protected and I won't have to worry about them rusting. After that is done though, it's ready to weld in. I'm gonna go ahead and get the parts all sprayed, get them dried, and do one final test fit and get this thing welded in. I'm stoked, guys. This is actually like turning out extremely well. I was a little sketched out trying this, and it's something that obviously is a huge thing to even attempt, but honestly, it's looking good. It's looking better than I thought it was going to. Let's get this thing welded and let's get this thing back on the road. So a quick test fit of the taillights shows that everything's lining up pretty much perfectly. I think it's time to weld it in. So before I weld it in completely, I'm going to tack a few spots just to make sure that everything's lining up completely perfectly, and then we'll get on our way. I'm stoked. This is actually looking pretty promising, and I'm not mad about it. So I've got a few of the tack welds done. You can see it's lining up completely perfectly with all the holes on the bumper now, which is nice. I'm gonna go ahead and put some tail lights on. I put the latch for the hatch on. Now that is perfect. Sits in there nice and perfect. Perfect latching mechanism. So it's so far looking pretty good. I'm gonna put the tail lights on right quick. And that'll be the last little indicator that I need to see if this is ready to be fully welded in. Our gaps are even on both sides. If I had bolts in there, they'd line up perfectly. All right, I'm gonna get this thing completely welded in, and then we'll be done with this section. So with that, we're completely done with the rear end on the Eclipse. That means that we can start moving on to the front end. And I've got some super cool stuff planned for it. Honestly, this is stuff that you guys are not going to want to miss because this is like some next level shit. I'm actually really stoked about, because we're going to be doing something a little bit out of the box that's going to help this car a lot, and it's going to be super cool. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably already know what it is. If you don't, make sure to go follow me. I think that we've only got probably, I want to say like 2 weeks until I can actually start priming stuff. So that's going to be awesome. Getting this thing all one color is going to be absolutely sweet. I'm super stoked for it. Hope you guys are too. If you guys are liking the content, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.